Talking Chop. Talking
Chop, baby. Let's
We're
go.
back.
Let's go back. We are
Guys,
so back.
It's been a while. It's been a long time. You know, lots of things have happened, like an off season, for example, for the Kansas City Chiefs. For us, I had to move to another place. I'm still in Austin, but I have a new background. It looks almost identical to the old one, except shout out to Oscar for making this painting for me. I'll get his @ and I'll throw it in.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job mimicking the last setup there, David.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's mostly the same items I owned before. But that's not why we're here. We're here because the Chiefs played a preseason game against the Cardinals. The Chiefs did a lot of signings and stuff over this offseason that we could catch up a little bit on. And Garett has some new swag from Blue Valley North. Look at the North hat, man. It's kind of fire.
It is pretty clean. I was kind of a little bit speculative on the little navy on navy, but I think it looks pretty clean.
And as always, what doesn't look clean yet is our intro. But guys, don't worry, someone's making us a new intro. But for now, this is Talkin Chop. We also have another pretty big important announcement to make, which is Jackson has been promoted from Statman Jackson to associate producer. A great lateral move.
Guys, I never thought I could do it.
Yeah, we're real proud of our man, associate producer Jackson back there. No longer Statman Jackson, but maybe in our hearts we can still think of him that way.
Yeah, he does more things now because the show is scaling up. And speaking of scaling up, the Chiefs wide receiver room looking mighty deep despite injuries. Dude, Jason Brownlee, man, did not expect that. First team reps and gets that amazing catch, and then pretty much didn't see him anymore for that Cardinals game. But as always, Garett, we got to thank our sponsors, actually. That's a new segment that we're going to be doing.
This is true.
This episode of Talkin Chop is sponsored by Upper Hand Fantasy, guys. Check out Faraz. He does amazing fantasy content. And then, Upper Hand Fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, this whole show wouldn't be possible without our boy Faraz. So, I mean, that's big props to him.
And then, Garett.
And as usual, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. They've been a proud fan of ours for a long time. Have changed the code. Use code Talkin Chop for a 50% deposit match for up to $1,000. I use the app pretty consistently. Would love for Andy Reid to stop lying to us about how long the starters are going to play in preseason games so I could actually hit my bets. But they've been fans for a long time. We really appreciate their sponsor. And once again, use code Talkin Chop, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's the other big news. It's just everything is Talkin Chop now. We don't have any of the other name confusion. It's just Talkin Chop on YouTube, Talkin Chop on Instagram.
Yeah, we are
Talkin'
no longer
Chop
Upper Hand
Spotify.
Chiefs. We are Talkin Chop on everything. So if you are looking for us on any social media platform, it's just Talkin Chop.
Yeah, but don't worry. I mean, for us, we're still working with him.
We're still working with our boy, man. You know, he's been a real big fan and booster for us for a long time. So once again, thank you, Faraz. You're a goat.
Speaking of fans, Garett, the fans have done us a service. We are the 85th ranked podcast in Kansas City. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to be on this list at all. Also, shout out to the Whodunit sisters. We got to pass them, Garett. That's the next one. This is not just sports podcast. This is all podcasts in Kansas City.
Podcasts Kansas City area. I mean, and this is after a long hiatus, as you guys have probably known for a while now. We're obviously gonna try and get a lot more consistent. I mean, life's just been really busy after the draft. We're gonna absolutely try and get back to weekly. But we're gonna bring the best content we can to you guys. We really appreciate you even for the time we've been gone, boosting our numbers to at least get up into the top 100 in the KC area. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of hype. Yeah, dude, it's kind of hype. 85.
Look, we can be proud about our achievements. Yes, is 85 out of 100 kind of high up there? But we're gonna work on it. We're gonna try and get lower and lower every week. So
speaking of 85, Bobby Tunyon, dude. That's just
phenomenal transition. Like, that was insane. Right off the cuff now. Speaking of him, I mean, Robert Tunyon's been working day and night in training camp and in preseason. I've actually been pretty impressed with the way he's performed. I wasn't, super ecstatic about bringing another tight end into the room just to kind of clutter it up, but I think he's really, stuck into that, I think, tight end 3 role for us. So
he's a good blocker, apparently, because I'll pull it back up on the screen again. The The 82.7 pass blocking grade in that game, leading receiver in the preseason game with 49 yards, 3 catches. I put the targets there, so you know that one of them either was overthrown or he just didn't catch it. But listen, I loved Robert Tonyan so much when he was on the Packers. He had that 10 touchdown season where he went off with Aaron Rodgers, and then they made a song about him that I've listened to. It's called Bobby Tonyan by Jeez Louise. Go look it up. It's so funny.
Look, I mean, it
compares him to Jerry Rice.
Yeah, you can't be called Big Bob Tonyan and not have a good, blocking grade. I feel like that's just implied with the name. He's probably been one of our more consistent, backup tight ends since a guy like Blake Bell. Obviously, Noah Gray's been phenomenal in every rep that he's been in. And I think we just keep on track with tight ends. Kelsey came back, I think, like 25 pounds lighter than he was last training camp. And I think he's gotten out of that like weird groove he had last season, with all the spotlight and all the moving around and flying around to these other events. And I think he's fully locked in. Obviously have no clue whether, he thinks this is going to be his, his last hoorah. But it kind of looks like he's fully locked in, ready to go for this season. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey did say in like an interview recently that he thinks the last 2 seasons even he's been a little distracted with all of his acting gigs. He didn't say it was Taylor Swift. He said it was his acting stuff, and that's probably fair. He's done a lot of like commercials. Oh my God, dude, people used to hate us so much because Mahomes and Kelsey were in every single commercial, and I think that's fair. But
yeah, I think it's really good to see a guy like him, fully just recommit back to the craft. It shows a lot of these younger guys that this is the way that we need to move and get things going, especially in training camp and through the preseason. So I'm hoping that he has a bit of a recurring year. I was a little bit down on him last year, I think, as a lot of people were, but I think this last little hoorah he's going to show, I think that's going to prove to the rest of the league that he deserves to be that first ballot Hall of Famer that we know he's going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about some of our preseason standouts from the first game. I did jump into it a little fast, but we're going to keep going with it. We're going to roll into it just because I got so excited about Bobby Tonyan. But Garrett, this is a guy that you're excited about. I'm excited about. This is a guy everyone's excited about. All of Chiefs Kingdom, any doubters were quickly silenced from Andy Reid having him as the starting left tackle day 1 of camp. Josh Simmons, only 11 snaps at left tackle, but he did his job. Mahomes, in an interview with Kay Adams, said that this guy is like a lock Hall of Famer. He didn't say verbatim like that, but he's like, he could have a Hall of Fame career, which just shows how.
I think before the injury, right? If we're going back in time a little bit to his time in college, I think before the injury, especially, just the way he was touted going into the draft, I think he would have probably been top 10, similar to something like we've seen with Kelvin Banks Jr. But with that injury, as we've seen before with Chiefs players dropping, at least a little bit in the draft due to injury concerns, guys like Trey Smith, we got him as a steal because everyone thought that, his injuries were going to be, incredibly hampering his game. Obviously turned out to not be true. I was never too
Trey
concerned.
Smith's ever missed a game.
No, he is not. But when it comes to Josh Simmons, I think a lot of his injury concerns were pretty overblown. Just due to these 2 factors that I had in my mind every single time when we drafted him, is that the Chiefs have a really great training staff. They have been phenomenally keeping guys on the field due to injuries and getting on the field quicker from injuries. I think we have a really good training staff there. We've seen that with Mahomes' injuries before, where he's been playing on injuries that guys that went out 6 weeks and he's back in 2 weeks, right? So that was a concern I never really had. And when it comes to the specific injury he had, it's on his weaker foot, right? It's not on that plant foot he's consistently on, so it has way less of an injury chance to re-injure. So I think he's going to be, pretty consistent for us, and I think Andy Reid has a lot of faith in him as well, considering that, he's putting that young guy out there starting reps.
I didn't know that it was his weaker foot that got injured, so it's not his plant foot. So
it is not.
That's pretty good insight, actually, into. Joshua Simmons.
In terms of his game, he only had 11 snaps. So, I mean, as we've seen from multiple preseason, players and standouts, that's not a significant amount of snaps to make, crucial, immediate opinions, right? But just on the
other side with Kingsley.
Right, on the other side with Kingsley, I mean, he had a really not a great game. But we're not gonna trash guys and praise guys for the same amount of snaps, right? But from what I saw of Simmons, His inside arm was a lot stronger than we've seen of left tackles that have worn the red and gold in previous years. His leverage was really good. He played against Baron Browning, who Broncos legend Baron Browning, pretty much the entire game. Locked him down. He gave Baron Browning one of the worst Cardinals defensive scores for the game. But I was really impressed with what I saw, even in the 11 snaps. I mean, he looks pretty solid out there. He's really patient with his hands, and he doesn't allow teams to really beat him on the outside. He wants to force them inside, and he's got a strong inside hand. So I think that benefits him well.
Well, he wasn't the only tackle out there to do amazing things. Undrafted, out of Washington State, and friend of the show, Garrett.
Fan
You
of the
love it
show.
when it's a friend
Fan
of the show. You know, Essapol, 35 snaps at left tackle. He played out there a lot, and he did well. This was a guy that I really wanted to draft when I saw the Chiefs brought him in for a visit during this pre-draft process. And he had an amazing senior season at Washington State. And he's huge. He's like 6'7", and
he's a big boy. He's a big boy.
I said the thing. This is gonna,
Even
if someone watches this like 2 months in the future, I didn't get the 6'7" thing for so long, but I still don't
have
get
no
the 6'7".
idea like why it's even a thing. Like the football players that I coach is just like it's all over what they talk about, and maybe I'm an unk. Like I was usually pretty in like with the lingo and the jokes, but maybe I'm just an unk now, and I just have no idea what they're talking about.
That's how this is the first time where I haven't felt in on the joke with the 6'7" thing, and it's like, dang, am I finally old? I'm 24. I'm Kyle Pitt's age right now, so
we actually both just turned 24.
Yeah.
August 8th for myself, and our boy over there a day later.
Oh, yeah, August 9th. See, that's the funniest thing, guys, is Garrett and I have been friends for the longest time. This is what one extra day of age looks like, is Garrett
closing in on that, 325 mark over here, and we've got David over there with a solid, probably 195.
Hey, that's generous for sure. We hit like we're like Xavier Worthy size, I would say.
I think it was pretty funny in our like Chiefs media group chat. They were all like, oh, like I'm 5'7", like 175, and I'm just like 6'3", 325, and then Todd was just like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, I'm just a big guy.
Well, Essapol has his numbers in thanks to our associate producer, Jackson. He is 6'7", and he is 319 pounds, so he's a big tackle. I mean, you can see it in that picture. He's just a stone wall, and so
even with his size, he moves pretty well. He's got good feet.
And that's all you can ask for. He was a steal. I had him mocked in the 7th round. We ended up getting him in free agency, so even better. I mean, the Chiefs stay winning. Garrett, this will be on my 53-man roster prediction. I think he does make it over a guy like Ethan Driscoll. I think he has more proven talent and at a more valuable position in left tackle versus right tackle where Driscoll plays. So we'll see. I think the O-line, like who makes the 53-man roster, this might be the most competitive group ever because Dalton Cooper's no bum either.
Yeah, Dalton Cooper. I mean, he was pretty nameless to me up until the preseason game, and he had a pretty standout performance as well. I definitely agree with it being probably the most consistent or competitive group that we've had in the past couple of years, and that's not due to not having the talent levels that we want up at the level, but it's just those like 2s and 3s as we've seen before are really important in the roster because we've had consistent offensive line injuries in the past, and just that next guy up needs to be a guy that we know can perform at a level that we at least need for the offense that we run, which just from the couple snaps, especially with the first team, I mean, it seems like we're able to get into a little bit more of a rhythm. We've got consistently more time in the pocket. Obviously, it's preseason. We can't dive too deep into it, but just from the couple snaps that we saw with the first team offensive line, I think quarterbacks are going to have a little bit more cushion this year.
Garrett, how big do you think Dalton Cooper is?
Dude, why are you so like fixated on the 6'7" thing, man? Like,
I don't. He's 6'7". What is the deal?
He's 6'7", 315.
Okay,
both big boys, pretty much identical to our boy Essapol, but once again, really competitive room. We love to see the boys working in and out. Hopefully, eventually our another fan of the show, Chew Godric, makes the 53-man roster. I know he's got this grind set going on, so
Yeah, it's funny actually. We're friends with only offensive and defensive linemen on the team because it's probably because of you, if I'll be honest. But yeah, I mean, we respect the big boys on the podcast. It's kind of how championships are won. That's been my sports take.
They're one in
for
the
the
trenches,
longest
baby.
time.
One in the
Yeah.
trenches,
And
and that
you
was
look
proven with the Super Bowl.
It's proven every freaking Super Bowl. You look back to all the Super Bowls of years past, the reason Nick Foles has a ring is because he had the best offensive and defensive line in the country that year. It's the reason why Mahomes doesn't have 2 more rings is because we did not have the best offensive line in 2 Super Bowls.
We don't talk about Mike Remmers. We don't talk about Mike Remmers in this household.
Mike Remmers, who is... Yeah, I was going to say Austin Ryder, but he actually has a ring because he did win as the starting center once, which is crazy to think about too. A lot of
Mike Remmers, fun fact, has actually cost 2 teams Super Bowls. Panthers
who's
as
the
well.
other one? Oh, he was the left tackle for the Panthers.
Yes, he
or
was.
Right tackle because
Yes,
he
he
didn't
was.
play left tackle until he played for us, right?
Yeah, he was right tackle for the Panthers during their Super Bowl run.
All right. Well, speaking of Super Bowl run, here's a guy from last year who we like to see his year 2 growth, and that is Christian Roland Wallace. This is a guy that I kind of slept on myself personally, and don't get me wrong, he does have a lot of blown coverages. PFF doesn't love him in terms of like coverages, but his big numbers, which are things that you need, are turnovers and stops. He does get those. And I feel like he should be back as a safety. He was more of a safety in college. He plays corner for us, but he has the safety intangibles. But he had an interception, he had a fumble recovery, a pass deflection. Like, well, I mean, what more can you want? I mean,
I think it's very possible that we might move him back to safety, especially with the injury to Deion Bush in the preseason game. I mean, that's a pretty big loss. He had a phenomenal preseason and training camp, and I was really rooting for the kid. Was still playing pretty well up until the injury, and that's just the way this business goes. Sometimes it was a non-contact, so there's really nothing you could have done about it. It's one of those freak random injuries that happen all the time. But we could see guys like Christian Roland Wallace moving back to safety to implement a little bit more depth in that position.
We can't call Deion Bush kid. He's like 30, bro.
I mean, yeah, that's more just like coaching lingo. It's like you call your players kid. It's like I'm like, oh, add a boy kid. It's just that that right off the tongue.
That's actually kind of crazy to think about. That like Essapol is actually probably younger than us. So I mean, holy cow, Josh Simmons is younger than us. They're huge guys. So I mean,
yeah, guys like Christian Roland Wallace and guys like Jack Cochran. Those are guys that do they have their defensive liabilities? Yes, but in especially like Dave Tube loves these guys because they are ball hawks. They're guys that bring the boom. Shout out our boy AJ. But when it comes to do
you mean Spags or do you mean Dave Tube?
Tube.
You said
Dave Tube.
You said Tube. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mean the special teams coordinator?
Yeah, I
mean
the special teams coordinator. I like what he sees there. I feel like a lot of people forget about the 3 phases of the game, right? And
our special teams look really good.
Our special teams have been looking phenomenal, even in training camp and preseason, and that's all props to Dave Tube. And watching this preseason game, I've noticed I think Tube has kind of unlocked the blocking scheme that's required for this newer type of kickoff, because we were getting a lot of consistent like midfield possessions just because those blocks were getting really consistent. A lot of holes were opening up. I thought we could have broken maybe 1 or 2 if we didn't miss 1 block here or there or just get tripped up. But I think Dave Tube's been really phenomenal for us in the past couple of years for special teams, as shown as he's won us a couple games last year, namely the Broncos with the block kick.
Before we get to our last one, I do want to keep talking about this because this is more prevalent right now. But Nico Remigio, obviously, with his great kick return. I mean, that battle for the lead kick return position, like it looks like Remigio's to lose, which then means how does that wide receiver room stack out when you have the guys who make the final roster? I think Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, obviously, but Hollywood Brown is injured too. And he might not start the season healthy. He might start the season on IR. And I honestly don't think we need Hollywood Brown anymore. I think it would be nice, obviously, to have him. But with this room and how competitive everybody is, the rise of Tyquan Thornton, remembering that he was a 2nd-round draft pick and remembering that he's 6'2" and super fast and he's got all this potential. He's still super young. He's like 23. Like, he's going to push for the roster. Remigio is going to push for the roster. Jalen Royals is going to potentially be a nice like Rashee Rice type receiver until Rice, comes back from his suspension. But I think I think Remigio might have to have a case for the roster, dude. I don't know how you leave him.
I mean, I think it's pretty confirmed, at least due to special teams, he's going to make the roster. But I feel like we're having a lot of these
off?
I feel like we're having a lot of these tougher discussions in regards to the wide receiver room. I think the entire fan base knows exactly who should be off of the wide receiver room, but he's consistently. They're not going to cut Sky Moore, even though they absolutely should. I understand. He's been around. He knows the playbook. He's going to be out there where he's supposed to be. But if the guy's not going to get open and find the ball, why is he out there?
I mean, listen, you can't cut a kid for trying. I mean, he probably is showing up in practice all the time. And I think there's just some game jitters that he just hasn't been able to shake yet because, I mean, he had all this potential. There was a time when my boss Faraz was like projecting he was going to have like amazing fantasy season. He was going to have like 700 yards and all this stuff. Like, he's a second round pick. He was really good in Western Michigan. But something hasn't clicked on the next level. But like, I think he agreed should probably maybe be on the practice squad maybe for this season, but if he's doing all the right things, it's kind of like with MVS, but then MVS showed up, so
I feel like our second rounders from the past couple of drafts have been really hit or miss. I mean, we've had guys like Sky Moore and Kingsley, Suamatia,
and then you have Creed Humphrey and Nick Bolton.
And
those are kind of a long time ago though now at this point,
but so it's really hit or miss when it comes to the second round for us. And I'm still not giving up on Kingsley. Obviously, it's going to be going into his second year. He's moving to guard, but he needs to work on his anchor. I feel like he just gets, especially for his size, it's surprising the amount of pushback that he gets from defensive lines. But
you
other
said
than that,
his technique was horrible, and that's probably why he's not getting low.
I mean, he plays in the NFL, and I coach high school, so it's my word against his, but I think he has the skill set to succeed at guard. It's just working on those very little specific things for him to work on leverage, work on anchor, not getting blown back in plays where, blowback is absolutely unacceptable, right? Like if
blowback is unacceptable, Garett.
Right. If he's getting blown back on a run, like a run blocking scheme and we have pullers going through, he's tripping up in the backfield, right? Like that can't happen. But other than that, I'm going to give him a few more years before I'm really harsh on him. It's like I was not super hard on Sky Moore for the first couple of years, but now I'm like, can you please get off the team?
That reminds me of the player grids that we made earlier in the season. It was a fun little off-season thing that we did with our fans. We might do a segment on this later, but every single person voted for Sky Moore to be the category where it's worst player, most hated by fans. Have y'all not watched the Chiefs in the last 10 years? Because there's a lot more clearer answers. I feel like to be the worst player, you have to actually play and have an impact on the team's failures. And it's just crazy to me how much hate Sky Moore gets for just not playing. It's not like he's out there hurting the team. He'll get a couple reps, maybe have a couple.
We agreed on this. When we think of worst player and hated, why was it not Orlando Scandrick or a guy?
Yeah.
Those are guys that played and made negative impacts consistently on the field, unlike Sky Moore. Obviously, do I agree with the sentiment that Sky Moore is, he's been pretty negative to at least the depth? Sure. But he's not played enough to make a negative impact in actual games. Sure, he's had a couple drop passes, but those are his 2 reps.
Oh, exactly. And I actually was able to quickly grab those grids while you were talking, so that was kind of clutch. But here's the one that the fans voted on real quick. I did want to talk about this, and I kind of forgot to put it in the script, so it's a nice little interjection. But great player loved by fans. I gave him Mahomes. I wasn't going to let him vote on that one. But Jerick McKinnon, average player loved by fans. I think that's a great pick, Garett. I think that if we're doing recency bias, which a lot of the fans
a lot of the fans were definitely victims of recency bias.
Which it's only natural. You're only going to be thinking of the Mahomes era stuff. So I think Jerick McKinnon is a great example of loved by fans. He's pretty good, Then we changed to subpar. This was a little controversial, but you guys are the ones who voted this. But Byron Pringle as a subpar player loved by fans. listen, he had no success in any other teams. He was a UDFA. I would argue he's subpar, but he did have his nice moments with KC.
I think the Byron Pringle prime in Kansas City was a fun time to watch Kansas City football.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Obviously, the moment he left, he just, kind of fell off the face of the earth. But when he was catching touchdowns from our boy in red, I think it was a really fun time to watch him football.
And the reason I'm narrating this, YouTube viewers, is because this is an audio show as well, and probably primarily an audio show. So great player that the fans are divided on is Tyreek Hill. I mean, that goes without
fair.
saying. I love him personally, and I don't really care that he went to Miami and talks all the whatever. Let Tyreek Hill do what he wants. Besides bad things to women, impregnating
besides
4
besides
in 1
bad
year.
things, besides bad things, let him do what he wants on the field. You know what I mean?
Yes, let him talk on his podcast. But and then I still love Tyreek Hill. I thought he had a great energy around him when he was on the team. I'm not going to say aura, but I mean, all the kids would love if I said that. Moving on to an average player divided by fans. Fans were so divided about this one that they didn't think he was average and that he sucks. But Dirty Dan Sorensen, listen, he's not a bad player. Everyone just hates him because he makes bad plays sometimes. There's a difference between players who make bad plays and are just bad at football.
We make this comparison a lot. Like, Dan Sorensen was the fourth quarter clutch god on defense. He would have blown coverages all game. But if the game was on the line, it was the final drive. Who's coming down with the pick 90% of the time? It's Dirty Dan. And we make this comparison to offense on, more recency. I feel like on the offense of the ball, that's Justin Watson. The guy never shows up except for the one clutch moment in the game that you need, like a 45-yard catch. Justin Watson's going to be there downfield, right?
Exactly.
And I feel like that's a similar kind of role on the team that Dan had. And, Super Bowl champion Dan Sorensen. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, he had the ability to be a starting safety for many years, I mean, in the NFL. So obviously the coaches liked him and thought he was worthy of his spot. Fans divided, subpar player, Kadarius Toney. I mean, I would have loved to see him be a success. I have a jersey for Kadarius Toney. I am one of the fans who is a very pro Kadarius Toney guy because I can't hate him. It's not like he purposely sucked. He just happened to,
Just happened.
I
was pretty high on him.
It's a mental game.
Because I was under the impression, I was probably in the same club that you were, that like the Giants just ruined players, and I thought, if any coach could turn a player around, it's going to be Andy Reid. It just really didn't work out that way. He had the yips when it came to just catching the ball for whatever reason. He'd have some insane, really good catches and just some boneheaded drops. So you're going to lose coaching trust and quarterback trust really fast when you're wide open for a first down in a crucial moment and it just fumbles right out of your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then this was one that, apparently Larry Johnson just was a bad person. Like, I mean,
and I think it's funny that, we have like the recency bias of all of these players. And then they're like, oh yeah, now it's Larry Johnson. I feel like everyone looked up like most hated Chiefs players.
That's what happens if you Google it. I Googled it too, and that's who came up. Larry Johnson.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's bandwagon Chiefs fans are like, oh, well, I can't really think of a guy that I hated that was great, so I'm gonna just look up worst Chiefs player, and it's Larry Johnson.
At the beginning, it was D Ford. D Ford is in the average hated by fans one. Now I moved him down just because he had one good season. I feel like you can't be. It's weird because I would say D Ford was probably better than McKinnon and Dirty Dan. I don't know. He kind of does fit that same way area a little bit.
We can be biased because he costed us another Super Bowl chance, but
he also wasn't good since leaving the Chiefs. That's another example of a player who wasn't good. And then hated by fans, subpar player. Philip Gaines. I vetoed everybody. They wanted Sky Moore. Oh, that's it. That's what Jackson said. Okay. I see. This is the one where I had some say. Jackson, our associate producer, did tell me that I had just uploaded the wrong one. And he's right because
this is just the better one.
Yes, I did veto some of the fans' picks on the grid because they really wanted.
Philip Gaines was, a Chiefs terrorist. He was on that same level of Orlando Scandrick of just terrible ball and just consistently on the field for whatever reason.
Here's the one that you guys voted on, which means Jawan Taylor slides in at the hated by fans average player spot, and Sky Moore is the subpar player hated by fans because Everything else stayed the same, but I had to change the hated by because you guys were so doing the recent players, and I was like,
we need to throw some classics in there. I think that was respectable.
all right. Well, let's look at yours, Garrett, because why not? We have it up.
I think mine was a mix of some recency, some classics, some lovies. Obviously, Derek Thomas, he was my inspiration for wearing 58 when I played. Just a phenomenal ball player, just a absolute just definition of a dog. And then average player Dontari Poe, the GOAT. The amount of times we would bring this dude in on the goal line and he would just make a phenomenal, fun play for the big boys. We love to see it. Dontari Poe was the definition of just fun to watch football, and he was one of my favorite players watching that Chiefs during that era of the Chiefs.
When you showed me your list and I saw you had Dontari Poe, I was like, dang, I forgot to put him on my list. Obviously, I can't do it now, but I was like, that was a great poll. Actually, this whole list, Garrett, I think you did a fantastic job of getting some great polls.
I tried to mix and match, some of my feelings on players and go to a couple different eras, but obviously subpar player loved by me, Chad Henne. I mean, he was probably one of the best Chiefs backups we've had in a very long time. The guy was just a hard-nosed football player, wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. I mean, literally saved a playoff game against the Browns. I mean, we wouldn't have went nearly as far as we did without him. And I will always love our boy Chad Henne. Got that boy a couple rings before he rode off into the sunset. This one is a little bit controversial, I know. I know Chiefs fans, okay? I am divided on Tony Gonzalez. I'm aware he's been one of the best Chiefs tight ends in history, and he's been this awesome guy. The fact that he stated the Falcons made his career, I will never forgive him for. I am a homer to the day I die for red and gold. You will not be speaking bad about us like that, and you're not going to just get a sorry from me. You're not going to get.
Garrett, I do remember you made me switch him.
I made him switch him because you know what? I'm not taking it, brother. I'm not taking it. I'm sorry. You can't talk about the Chiefs like that and be like, oh yeah, oh now that we're good, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, hey Kansas City, I'm back. Nah, get out of here, bro. Go back to Atlanta. Go back to Atlanta.
It's so funny because this almost felt like clickbait because when everyone saw this post, they're like,
why do you hate Tony G? I'm like, I have my reasons. Okay, I have my reasons. And
also, it's really hard to do a hated great player. I'm gonna be honest. That square I was thinking on for so long, and I kind of cheated with mine. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. So it's really hard.
I switched in. My divided was Marcus Peters. I mean, he was a phenomenal player, really great ball skills, just a hawk, but just the consistencies of the flags on the field and being detrimental to the defense in that way was it was kind of tough to watch at times, but I gave him a pass because he was a phenomenal player, and even when he left the Chiefs, he still had a couple of pretty good seasons. Eric Fisher, I think we can all agree that first round talent, first round number one overall, you have a lot of expectations. But I feel like early on in his career, before we started winning, before we started getting the Super Bowls, I feel like we were a lot more harsh on Eric Fisher. But with the left tackle play or tackle play in general that we've had now, I look back on times with Eric Fisher and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I was a little too harsh on that guy. Maybe I was a little too harsh on Eric Fisher. Because, especially last year, would I have taken Eric Fisher in a heartbeat? Absolutely. I would have loved to have Eric Fisher, holding down the left side for us last year. But I moved him in. I feel like a lot of people might have put him in hated, but, I had a lot of respect for Eric Fisher, in hindsight. Then we move on to subpar, Demarcus Robinson, right? It's like, did he have some phenomenal catches and clutch saves for us? Yes. But at the same time, why are you the one guy that every single time I catch the ball, my first thought is, don't run backwards. You are not that guy. He had the most awesome clutch plays, but also the most boneheaded, ridiculous plays at the wide receiver position. It's like the guy thought he was Tyreek Hill. He was not. He was trying to shift around the backfield. I'm like, bro, you are not that fast. You are not that guy.
I don't think it helped that Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman both did that thing where they would catch it and then do the little loop around. And I think he just tried to mimic it, and he just wasn't as fast as they could. So he just couldn't get away with it. And yeah, D-Rob's kind of been good outside of the Chiefs, though. So I don't know. He could be he teeters on that average tier, I feel like, because he was.
Yeah, I feel like he could move up to that tier, but I feel like for us, he's just never had that above average season, right? So
yeah. You already talked about Tony G, so now you can
I already
go
talked
to,
about Tony G. We're gonna combine these last two just to speed it up a little bit. My average player and subpar player hated Orlando Brown Jr. and curse this man forever, Mike Remmers. It's just the left tackle play at in the Mahomes era specifically has been really frustrating to watch. When it goes to Orlando Brown, yes, he was he was a run stuffer. He was phenomenal in the run game, but watching a guy get beat on the outside after false starting just really grinded my gears, right? He was consistently getting beat outside, forcing Mahomes into these really rushed, frantic situations, and watching him on the outside for us was kind of hard. Not as hard as Mike Remmers in the Super Bowl against, the Buccaneers. I will be forever just scarred. I told our media group chat that if I had 3 wishes from a genie, it would be to erase Mike Remmers from the history annals.
Wow.
But
okay, we're not supposed to actually hate on them, Garrett. We're supposed.
No, I'm hating on him. I'm hating on him. No,
right.
We're not being nice. We're Mike Remmers, bro. We never wear red again. You are banned.
Right. So I put a sorry. Obviously, I have a little bit of a issue, I guess, with pure hatred. Even though that's what sells these days, it's sex and hate that sells. So. Great player, loved by me, Jamal Charles. Obviously, I have the picture of him. You can't really see it right now. I graduated from Texas, so I got the Texas helmet. Jamal Charles has been my favorite growing up. I got to meet him a couple times.
One of the best
He's
running backs of all time.
He's a great guy. Willie Gay Jr. I have a signed jersey for him. That's why I love him. He's pretty average. He wasn't really good, or he's been injured with the Dolphins and Saints. So we'll see. We'll see what he does this season with the Dolphins. I mean, he was with the Saints last year.
I was sad when he left.
I was very sad when he left. I hope that he, comes back. Subpar player that I love, Sharkhandrick West. I don't know why this running back stuck with me so much as a kid, and how I got so excited when we re-signed him for that one Mahomes Super Bowl run. But Sharkhandrick West has just been he's just a little spurt of energy. He was like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like mini Pacheco, I guess it felt like at the time, but I really liked Sharkhandrick West. Player I'm divided on, Tyrann Mathieu. I used to love him when we first got him. He was one of my favorite players when he was on the Texans and Cardinals, and then he became a Chief. And funny enough, I started to not like him. That's why I was divided. I felt like he talked a lot. I felt like, he was getting up there in age. So, I feel like his play declined a little bit, and that did make it harder to be like,
I feel like those classic photos of him just throwing his arms up, watching Dan Sorensen get beat.
Oh, yeah.
Those. Like, what are we doing? It's just those are those are the things I think about when I think of Tyrann Mathieu. He did bring a dog mentality at that time to a Chiefs defense that was lacking that sort of aspect of the game. But just the getting into Twitter trash talk fights with fans was just really jarring at the time.
Yeah,
I don't really care too much about that kind of stuff, but you gotta have some kind of at least dog professionalism, right? Just keep it on the field, brother.
Next, we have Sammy Watkins, a guy I was really excited when we signed him, and somebody who definitely had his amazingly clutch moments. I feel like this middle square is the pinnacle of a player who's clutch and had high expectations or just couldn't perform sometimes. But Sammy Watkins, dude, he had some incredibly clutch moments with the Chiefs. But
I think he probably has my favorite moment of the Mahomes era so far.
The Titans
is in the Titans AFC Championship game. If you listen to the audio of the field, just when Mahomes is looking, Sammy Watkins is deep, wide open downfield. You just hear the entire stadium in sync yell "Sammy," and it's such a peak moment in Chiefs history because that was it. That was the nail in the coffin that it put us forward into the Super Bowl, and it was just such a great moment.
Yeah. And then we got another guy, Mecole Hardman, someone who I liked initially. I think I'm more on the hating, honestly, than loving. But he had such a good rookie year, and he just never was the same player again. And I'm really not. I mean, then he goes and does the game-winning touchdown against the Niners, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I guess we should have kept him. I guess we should have signed him. So it's really hard to hate Mecole Hardman, but it's hard to fully love him too. But he's just
I feel like
guy.
I agree. I'm on the divided side because I feel like the first half of his career is where I was in why is he still on the? Then he really pulled it together in the back half, and I think he's definitely had his moments, but the ceiling is what we really wanted, and the ceiling just never came.
All right, this one I'm kind of cheated. I 1000% cheated on the great player hated because everyone called me out in the comments. They're like, he was not great with the Chiefs. You can't do that. And I was like, yeah, Le'Veon Bell was a great player, and then he became a Chief, and then he sucked and was terrible, and he's also kind of a whiny guy. So I put him in that.
You
slot.
didn't want to go full in on the Tony G hate, huh?
No, I don't. I like Tony G. I don't care that he said that he's a Falcon. Okay, like whatever. He could say whatever, Garrett. We could agree to disagree on that, but Tony G is still cool. I do find it weird that we didn't retire his number though. So it's probably because we're freaking
maybe
Clark Hunt.
Maybe Clark Hunt feels the same way, brother.
Okay.
He's like, you know what? Atlanta
Jake
can retire your number, buddy.
Freaking Jody Fortson and Jake Briningstool just get to wear 88, I guess. And then D Ford, we agree, fans. I had a burner account that I used to run before I ran my account we have today called D Ford Offside, and I would comment on a lot of people's stuff like with my burner. So that's always been a thing. Nothing special. Every Chiefs fan has this memory. Then Orlando Scandrick, Garrett. I know you wanted him, but you gave him to me for mine. But sorry, Orlando Scandrick. I'm just not a fan. I think we froze up here, actually, Garrett.
You want me to just do like the boom?
No, I'm putting that in. You have now that's in there. Garrett just decided to destroy his Wi-Fi. He actually got really mad at Orlando Scandrick, so he started just punching his Wi-Fi box.
Just some internal malice kind of leaked out, so my setup exploded. But we're back.
Yeah, his internet. See, this is why we can't record these live anymore until I trust. I have Spectrum now. I don't have Google Fiber. I don't care, Spectrum. You could pay me $200 to sponsor you or something per episode, and I'm not going to endorse you because randomly Spectrum will just go out. Garrett, what do you have? Do you have Spectrum too?
I think I have Spectrum, yeah.
Yeah, and we just saw it happen, so...
We just saw it happen live, baby.
This episode is brought to you by Spectrum. They
not
randomly
Spectrum.
Go out. This episode has been canceled by Spectrum. All right, well, that was a long tangent, honestly. Because why not? We might cut it. We might keep it in. We're going to keep it in. Don't worry. But let's get back to the last player of the preseason that we thought did really well, and that's Jaden Hicks. He had 3 tackles, a pass deflection. He had a really bad PFF. He had an okay PFF grade, but I put him up because of the interception. I put him up because I feel like he's always in the right place, right time, and you like to see those instincts from your safety. And I'm also just a huge, huge fan of Jaden Hicks, and I don't care. He always will stand out to me because he's going to be a great player this year.
Yeah, and I feel like the safety position in general is going to be kind of like put on a lens, just because we let Justin Reed walk, and I think he was a pretty great player for us last season. I actually was kind of surprised that was the decision made, was to let him walk, because I thought we might actually sign him to a little bit of an extended deal. But with guys that are manning that position now, like Chamari Connor, Brian Cook. I would love to see Hicks probably maybe take over those starting reps a little bit more. I do agree that he's got some really good instincts and some good ball skills, but I think moving guys like Christian Wallace back to safety, because we're going to have to worry about that depth now, because with the injury to Deion Bush, we're inching closer to guys like Mike Edwards and, like guys like Glendon Miller, right? So...
All right.
Might need to have some moves made, but he had a great preseason game. Obviously, once again, not too many snaps to look at, so we're not going to go too crazy on our opinions. But moving forward, I would love to see more out of Jaden Hicks, especially in terms of snap count.
Yeah, so let's just we're going to end the show here, kind of catching up, doing a little offseason recap, and as well as bringing to light the injuries that we have right now. We currently have 2 players on injured reserve. Janoris Robinson, who did have the only sack in the preseason game. Kind of sucks for him, dude. He came over from the Raiders, depth edge rusher. Maybe he could make the roster, maybe not. And he balled out in the preseason game only to get a ruptured, or I think he fractured his ankle there.
Yeah.
He fractured his foot, and now maybe won't make the team. Maybe he'll stick around on the IR spot for a little bit, and at least while the season starts. I have to assume it's a longer than 4-week recovery for a fractured foot. So, Janoris Robinson's injured. Deion Bush tears his Achilles. Really sad. He's been with the team for a while now. He's been primarily special teams. He picked off Lamar Jackson in the playoffs recently, so I mean, that was cool.
Yeah, it's just that kind of injury is really tough to come back from. I mean, that is literally all of the power in your foot. So obviously, we're going to hope that DM Bush has a great recovery using our great training staff, but that's a really rough one to come back from.
And he is 31. He is towards the end of his career. So even though Garett called him a kid earlier in the show, and then we got Hollywood Brown. Started off with that leg injury scare, but I mean, he's still. Andy Reid gave an update recently. He said that he's still like rehabbing that ankle. So I mean,
I think if there's any time to be cautionary about injuries, it's during preseason and training camp. So I'm sure it's not. If it was something major, I'm sure we would have heard about it by now. It was definitely just precautionary. We don't need him risking reps in a preseason game against the Cardinals. So
yeah, exactly. One of his former teams, by the way, where he was actually decent. And then Rashee Rice is back. Actually, he was practicing today. Whenever you guys watch this, I might post this today, but we'll see. But yeah, Rashee Rice was back in practice. That's great to see. Still no word on his suspension that he will inevitably be getting this season, I have to assume.
I mean, based on some of the suspensions from similar sort of situations, I'm probably going to bet 6 weeks. I would assume 6-game suspension.
I think 4.
You think he's going to get the week? You're going low end, huh?
Well, Jordan Addison just got his, and I think his was only 3. And they did a very similar thing, although Jordan Addison didn't flee the scene of the crime. But, you never. The NFL is weird how they want to handle out punishments. Yeah. All I'm going to say, I'd rather Rashee Rice be suspended week 1 through 6, 1 through 8, 1 through 10 even, if it has to come to that, than during the playoffs and during the Super Bowl when we need him most, because he is wide receiver 1 by far. He has clearly established that. He is a security blanket. He is a deep threat. He is underneath. He's all over the field. He can run any tree. He's a
he was on pace to have a phenomenal season last year before the injury from our own player took him out. But as our favorite Yinzer urinating tree likes to say, there is the wheel of punishment. Roger Goodell seems to just at random assign dates and times on when these suspensions are going to be enacted. So it could be anywhere from 4 games to anywhere to, maybe even up to 10. Who knows? Just depends how he's feeling that day, I guess. But yeah, if it's 4, hopefully, I could see Rashee Rice, really having a bounce back season and being a major contributor to the offense.
And even in his absence, I think not Jaden Hicks, but Xavier Worthy is going to have a great season. I think year 2 for Worthy is something that's going to be incredibly exciting to watch. I think it's kind of getting slept on just what Worthy could be. He almost had 1,000 yards last year. These numbers do include the playoffs, but rookies under Andy Reid have historically struggled because it is a hard offense. It's hard to get into his system year 1. Look at Rashee Rice with that clean 1,200 yards his rookie year, beating out Deshaun Jackson, who is a legend, ended up playing a long career. He even played for the Rams and Raiders late in his career. So love that. Deshaun Jackson is up there. And Jeremy Maclin, Chiefs legend too. He played for the Chiefs eventually, but he started as an Eagle, was a rookie as an Eagle. 900 yards there. So Tyreek Hill as a 5th round pick had 600 his rookie year. So these are all great company to be in for Worthy and Rice. And it's a really good indicator, I think, that these guys are the real deal and they're not just flukes in the system.
And if Mahomes can really dial in those deep passes, I feel like Xavier Worthy would have been well over 1,000 yards last year. But it seems to, reports are coming out that their chemistry and their connections are getting a lot better, especially in training camp and preseason. So I'm excited to see what Worthy can do in year 2.
I'm actually pulling this up right now because what were Mecole Hardman's rookie year stats? Because they couldn't have been too far off from these guys.
I think he had like 700, 800 something. Right.
Well, it looks like he had 538 yards his rookie year, so
I was eyeballing
just short of the list, I guess. Dang.
Maybe 700 was including postseason.
Well, I would need to include the postseason then. Let's see it right now live. Did David do the stats wrong? In the postseason, he had 29 more yards. So
I really highballed the man. What can I say?
So he was still short of the graphic, therefore making this factually correct. Barely. Holy cow. Okay. Well,
Reggie Brown, he was really closing in on you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank goodness, because I was scared I was going to be wrong about that. No one called me out about it.
You're going to be wrong about your graphic. Oh no.
Well, I already posted it, so it's been up.
It was like the time we posted about the Baltimore versus Kansas City like playoff teams,
Oh,
and it was
my
just it was
gosh.
completely wrong, and like we just rolled with it. Like no one called us out. That
Oh.
was so funny.
It was, what was it?
It was like, Kansas City teams have never lost to Baltimore
Oh.
teams in the playoffs or whatever.
Well, it was true, that part. I said that the Chiefs or Kansas City teams have 3 wins in the playoffs in Baltimore, and Baltimore has 0 wins in the playoffs in Baltimore. That's not true.
That was wrong. They had
beat,
1.
They beat the Titans that year, and
Yeah.
that, I guess, technically counted. But
Well, it's close enough.
I meant like head to head.
Yeah.
Kansas City versus Baltimore teams is 0-3, but I worded it to where you could argue that yes, they beat the Titans, which was in Baltimore. We're off the rails here, Garrett. I mean, but honestly, that's the fun of this show. We like to just talk.
We
like
just
to
start
yap.
talking
It's
chop, man.
off-season.
We like to yap. It's off season. We don't got too much going on. You know, we're a little bit relaxed right now. We don't have too
We are
many
relaxed.
stakes at risk. Surely we're going to get a little bit more concerned probably around week 15 when it's getting close to that crunch time. But right now we're just
we'll be
chilling.
locked in on week 1. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm sure I won't have a scathing review depending on how week 1 goes.
Yeah. Hey, week 1 in Brazil too. That I'm not going to
one.
say it, but I'm just worried that somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody important's going to get hurt week 1 because Brazil's playing field is just not it. But oh well. I mean, let's talk more about the things we missed. Really just the 3 big player extensions that we're monitoring. First off, let's talk about Trent McDuffie since it's most relevant right now. Trent McDuffie says talks are going good. He was just talking to Kay Adams. Kay Adams is kind of killing it with the Chiefs interviews right now. I've mentioned her stuff a lot. I promise I'm not watching only Kay Adams stuff, but hey, listen, she's been really good for a while. So shout out Kay Adams. But anyway, McDuffie says that deal's going to happen. Don't worry about it. So I'm not worried.
And that's really good to hear because of all of our corner troubles we've had in the past like 5 years. I mean, it's really nice to have a consistent number 1 corner, really locking it down. Especially after the extensions with Trey and with George Karlaftis, it'll be nice to finally get that one settled in stone and ready to roll.
Well, and the other thing too is the market for corners is just so gosh darn expensive. You saw the Ramsey deal, you saw the Sauce Gardner,
and it's
deal,
only going to go up. So,
Yeah.
Beach, quicker we can get this baby done. I mean, the better deal we're going to get.
Didn't Stingley get paid too? And someone else got like a crazy deal that they shouldn't have got, but I forgot who that was. But either way, the corners have been getting paid, so it's going to be harder and harder to pay our corners in the future. But George Karlaftis getting paid, man, I was pretty happy about that one. I'm not going to lie. I think he's incredibly underrated, and it does about equate to the Bills Greg Rousseau deal that a lot of Bills fans have been comparing this deal to. George Karlaftis has done more, so I think he deserves more. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's an underrated edge rusher, and he's rising every season. It feels like he's just getting better, and he's just getting started. And like Frank Clark the Shark, he shows up in the playoffs.
He does. Look. If you are having a mid season, that's okay as long as you lock in the playoffs. That's why we kept bringing in Frank Clark. The guy would just lock in when it was crunch time, and that's all we really need. It's like we tell our high school football players. It's like we have 8 regular season games. Playoffs are automatic, right? In Kansas, that's the rules. But we don't need to worry about anything else. We just need to be ready for week 9. That's the first playoff week, right? Anything that can happen in the season, we can go 0-8. Make playoffs and still go to state, right? So I don't care how we perform as long as we are locked in when it matters most, when it's crunch time, when it's elimination time.
By the way, I think that is so dumb that everyone.
I agree, but hey, we take it, baby. It's the classic. We bring the boys in the off season right after the season starts. We bring in our first meetings. Always start it with, guys, we made the playoffs, baby. No games played, made the playoffs, baby. Let's go. We're ready to roll.
Wait, do you actually? That's so funny.
Yes, that's the first thing we always say. And
Okay.
it's lock in.
Is that the deal with other states? Like, there's no way
No.
that's like the
No.
Like,
No,
why is
that's-
it in Kansas that you automatically everybody gets to play?
Couldn't tell you
in the
about that.
playoffs? Is there not
Couldn't
enough
tell you.
teams? Like, in
I mean,
6A?
there's enough teams. I just think that's the way that it's been forever, and it's hard to get those specific kind of rules changed. So I don't mind it. Let's say, hey, let's the boys play more games.
And also, it lets good teams if you lose to a 0-8 team. Like your team went on a run one time, Garrett.
We did. Well, we've had our struggles, on and for the past couple of years, but the boys, they're learning how to win, and I'm really proud of how they've progressed. We're getting a lot stronger, and it's just grind time. I mean, we went 1-7 in the regular season, and ripped off a couple playoff wins here and there. So as long as we lock in at crunch time, and the boys are grinding and giving their all, that's all we can ask for them, right? So
yeah, more playoff wins than regular season wins is crazy, but I mean,
take it.
It feels good, and you obviously are. Well, that was last year, wasn't it? So you're carrying that momentum into this season. So hey, let's see what happens first: a state championship or a Super Bowl for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have already done many Super Bowls, and
obviously, I mean, just because the state championship is going to be in November, of course we're going to be first.
But Blue Valley North also had Graham Mertz win a state championship when me and you were there, and also Graham Mertz got to play his first preseason game.
Yeah, he did not. Look,
Jackson,
I love you, Graham. You're my brother.
I need the stats right now.
They're, we don't need to talk too much about that. I love my boy. He's the most humble guy I've ever met. But he's gonna get these yips out, and he's gonna bounce back. The boy has the best mentality I've ever seen. So brother's gonna bounce back.
Jackson has the stats.
He went 7 for 14 for 27 yards with a 1.9 average and 3 interceptions.
It was a rough game. What can I say? I watched the Texans preseason game.
Hey,
your brother's gonna bounce back.
Quinn Ewers also had a bad first preseason game, so you never know. And I mean, I was shocked that Graham Mertz, with all due respect, I love Graham Mertz. He's went to school with him, he's cool, but I did not expect him to get drafted over Quinn Ewers. But hey, I mean, Quinn's struggling in the NFL too, so you never know how that's going to translate. I've only heard good things about him in the interviews. I mean, the Texans traded up for him because they saw somebody that they thought was going to be a great value in the locker room. The Niners wanted him, and that's why the Texans traded up to draft over the Niners.
Indeed.
And the Niners are great at drafting late quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, so you never know. But
yeah, he has a great mentality. He's going to bounce back. He's not a guy that just gets down on himself. So I'm ready to see more out of him. Throughout the rest of the preseason.
We had to talk about Graham Mertz. It's a Kansas City thing. I put in the description of the podcast. I just updated it that we talk about all Kansas City things. So we need to maybe work on talking about other teams that just have Kansas City people. So. We're talking Chop, but we're also talking the Kansas City area, like the Royals.
Hey.
Who are they currently winning right now? Last time I checked, they were. They might not be anymore. Oh, they got 7 runs right now, 7-2 against the Washington Nationals.
Sometimes the Royals are peak. Sometimes they just drop off the face of a cliff, and we're hoping we can make a late push, sneak into that wild card. Love our boys in blue, but man, has it been a rough season to watch.
Dude, we got a Pasquatch home run and we got an India home run in this game so far. Dude, India at the bottom of the order has been really good. He used to be the leadoff hitter. If you guys don't know anything about baseball, look, I used to hate baseball until I started working for Texas, and then I had to learn baseball because otherwise I wouldn't have a job. So, but it's actually a really great sport if you give it the time and you look into it. And Kansas City, great to go to Kauffman and go before they move it downtown, because they probably will. Let's be honest. Go to Kauffman now before they move downtown, and go watch the boys in blue play ball, and go follow Royals Today on Instagram. He's the guy that I love to talk Royals ball about and watch. So yeah, go
now. As much as I'm sure we would love to keep yapping about our boys in blue, it is getting about that time. I think it's good to be back. We're getting back into the groove. We had a lot to talk about. We'll probably follow up on some more stuff that we missed in the next episode, but we're going to make this more consistent, brother.
And we're going to talk about Trey Smith real quick. We love the deal. We don't care that he's the highest paid. He deserves every penny. We just talked about him earlier being a 6th-round pick. In injury concerns, I can see Josh Simmons following the same trajectory, except he was still a 1st-round pick, but he's still the injury concerns.
Locking down good offensive linemen is important. I don't care if people think that he's not worth it, but he is. He is absolutely worth the money.
Mahomes needs all the help he can get on the offensive line, because the magic happens when Mahomes has time. So let's give him some time. Our time is up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for making us the 85th best podcast in the Kansas City metro area. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, supporting the Instagram. Go to Talkin Chop on Instagram. We had a big month on the Instagram. So thank you guys so much for commenting over there and being engaged. Comment on this video. Go watch us in the shower on Spotify. Go listen to us in the car on Apple Podcasts. Go give us 5-star ratings because it really helps the podcast. And, go help us out with our sponsorship because it does help me and Garrett out a lot.
If you use the code, it helps out the podcast, helps out yourself by getting more money on the app. It's a win-win for everybody. And remember, we changed every social media. It is Talkin Chop everywhere. You don't need to go through, upper hand Chiefs anymore. We are just Talkin Chop. Makes it easier. And like you said, give us 5 stars. Really, we love seeing your guys' comments and reviews. So just anywhere you can, just give us likes, get on the podcast, and hey, maybe your question will be featured on the next episode. Who knows?
We might have some more live shows too. I know we're not live this time, but we might get some more live shows during the season. And we have some guests that definitely want to come on this show that we're already in talks with. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I mean, Garrett, I kind of just, now that we're talking Chop, I can actually make merch because when we were upper hand Chiefs, can't really put Chiefs on your merch for copyright reasons. But dude, what if we had some?
We can
Talkin
get some
Chop
clean shirts. We can get some
what
clean shirts. Who knows?
Just a little tiny logo pocket tee, like a Comfort Colors like pocket tee with the Talkin Chop. Maybe I'll talk to some talking merch with some people over there.
We're getting back in the groove. Well, we're gonna make this more concise. We're talking shop, as associate producer Jackson just put in the comment. Kind of clean, but thank you guys for watching again.
Smart.
Thank you guys for watching again. We will be getting this back to more consistent weekly. So appreciate you guys for watching. And as always,
6-7.
We're just Talkin Chop.